Okay, so on Monday and Tuesday of next week, the Shreveport City Council will debate, amend, talk about, and perhaps even vote on the mayor's garbage fee proposal. City Councilwoman LeVette Fuller is here to kind of give us an update. Hey, Miss LeVette, welcome back to KEEL. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I've been better. My voice sounds a little nasty, but I'm starting to feel better.
LeVette, it sounds like $18 is dead on arrival, correct?
For me, it is. I listen. I told everyone when I ran that I was here to listen to them, and I'm listening. And I do have a few people that are like, yeah, we should have done this 30 years ago. But I have way more people on fixed incomes that are living just paycheck to paycheck or living off of their retirement, and they just cannot wrap their brain around affording this $18 a month.
But on the other hand, you've had a look at the books at this point, as have had the other city council people, and you've got to. Are you kind of looking at it going, we got to do something because we're bleeding cash? Is that a fair assessment?
We're bleeding cash, and we're hemorrhaging staff in a few different departments. My understanding is that we're losing quite a few of our police officers as well as losing our drivers for solid waste. I think that we can't just rubber stamp an $18 fee. I think there's room for negotiation. I think that we can look at a few other ways of doing this, and it might take longer. I don't think that we can just push this through fast and then deal with the fallout on the other side. But it's that saying, measure twice, cut once. I think we might need to measure 3 or 4 times. So
not to jump ahead in the conversation, but you don't see, you do or don't see a vote coming up as early as this Tuesday?
I'm not sure. I think that we could end up pushing this again. I think that there's too much. Okay, we had the Audit and Finance Committee meeting, and we looked at a few different alternatives to the $18. We looked at what it would be at $13. I think again at $14 or $15. So we are at least expanding the conversation beyond the $18. I think that we're smart enough that we can come up with a solution that allows for maybe some sort of sliding scale, so that people who are making less money and have less money on hand are still contributing, but not at a rate that's so high. I think that we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. I don't see us being able to have an in-depth enough of a conversation on Monday and Tuesday to be able to vote on something that is palatable.
So pardon me, are you talking basically means testing on a trash fee?
Maybe so. I think that Councilman Bradford has mentioned this as well, that some sort of sliding scale or tiered fee might be something that we could look at.
Let me ask. Let me tell you this, LeVette. I have a caution about that. Just as a wise older woman, okay. A sliding scale creates a whole nother bureaucracy. Somebody's got to take in the paperwork, make sure this person doesn't have a job, didn't move in a boyfriend, doesn't have a different. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it sets up a whole nother bureaucracy that I would worry about.
Well, I think that there's mechanisms that we can use to figure that out, though. We don't necessarily do it on salary. Maybe we do this based on property taxes, property value. I think there's more than one way to look at it.
So what?
Again, if we do start talking about something like that, my main thing is we will not be able to come to a conclusion about that on Monday and Tuesday.
Can you take us? Can you take us behind the curtain a little bit? Tell us some of the other amendments that have been proposed or might be proposed at Monday's work session.
I think that an enterprise fund is something that we have brought up a few times about this. And there's a lack of confidence amongst our citizens in our ability to distribute money the way that we've said that we've done it based on past performance. And I would like to see personally the enterprise fund, because it means that the money that we've asked you for is going directly to the resource that we said it before. That's something I think is going to come up in discussion a bit.
Councilwoman LeVette Fuller, do you have, and again, you can tell me. Don't ask me those kind of questions, and I'm good with that. Do you have a cap? Do you have a cap on how high an amount you'll vote for?
I think it would have to be less than $12. One of the meetings I went to for the different neighborhood associations in my district is Caddo Heights, and you've got a lot of. I mean, it's not a rich neighborhood by any means. Lots of fixed incomes, but these are property owners, and the neighborhood around them. A lot of the property that you see property owners has gone into like rental situations and blight. They were comfortable with $6. I asked them by show of hands. I went down every $2. I started at $18, and it wasn't until I hit $6 that any hands went up saying that that's something that they felt was a reasonable amount. So I think we're looking at definitely under $12, but I haven't looked at a figure. I haven't looked at any calculations that show us that we could afford to do this at $6 flat for everybody.
So it would be fair to say, as you hear from your constituents, this is not something that's got a lot of public support? Or do you think, because Erin and I talk about this all the time, are in your mind, is it most people are still unaware this is even going on?
One of the reasons I'm very thankful for y'all and your audience, even though I know a lot of people that listen know that I'm a progressive, I'm thankful that people that listen to y'all are participating. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people are not aware because they're not plugged in. A lot of people are cynical because they just don't trust government, and I think a lot of that can be valid. The people that call are the people that participate, and I've heard from people at every level. I've heard, I can afford it. I've heard, I can afford it, and I still don't want to pay it. Go away. I've heard, I can afford it, but what about my neighbor on a fixed income? And I've heard, I'm on a fixed income. So where my heart and mind are is with the people that are looking out for their neighbors and those neighbors that are vulnerable. And I've gotten a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails. But I know that that's not necessarily representative because those are the people that participate. I wish more people did participate.
Some people say this is going to run them. They're just going to leave them go move to Bossier.
And then they'll be paying more.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to.
Yeah, I know. It's it's doggone either way. But
right.
You'd be paying more in Bossier.
LeVette Fuller, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that I've said this before because we've been looking at the crime here. We are at a reckoning. It's expensive to run a city and to run it well. And we need to look at everything possible. We need to look at our budget. We need to look at any way that we can do this that is going to get us into a better footing so we have a cleaner, safer city. But as long as people are coming back to us and saying that that's just not good enough, that means that we're not working hard enough. And I don't want to vote on something like this without knowing that we've really done the sweating to make sure that we have looked at every other opportunity and every other way of solving these problems.